Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we continue the series of disturbing things from around the internet. We are at number 12. We have, at this current moment, one more next week. Then the series is over until unless he does another one at some point in the future. I am very excited to do this one, the next one, and then we'll figure out what we do after that. I don't know what we're going to do after that. I might live stream on that day. We'll see. I don't know at this moment, so don't take that as a guarantee. I don't know what I'm going to do. But let's get into this. Are you guys ready? Of course you're ready. Let's go.
The internet can be a grim place. Surely you don't need someone like me to tell you that. Videos, live streams, works of art, posts, and pages about disturbing events that have happened in our reality are nothing but a Google search away. Underneath the no commentary long plays and the fast lane truck drag racing videos exists a vast ocean of eerie content that'll surely get you thinking. And just might keep you up at night.
True.
Welcome back to Disturbing Things, your one-stop shop for bite-sized, eerie finds that I've recently discovered online. This is episode 12, so if this is your first exposure to this series, be sure to head over to the playlist down below for hours of further content to envelop yourself into. Without further ado, it's time, once again, to dive into 5 more hand-picked and disturbing things from around the internet.
The content in this video is disturbing and may have excessive views. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Heard it from him and me. And you saw it there. Everywhere at the end of time.
Let's set the mood. On the internet, there exists an album by the name of Everywhere at the End of Time. It was created in 2016 by a musical artist named James Leyland Kirby, also known by his stage name, The Caretaker. While I'm aware that on this show, I primarily cover real-world disturbing events, I wanted to discuss this piece of art since it perfectly encapsulates the disturbing reality of over 44 million people that are alive today. As you might have guessed by now, the album's an artistic expression of the numerous stages of dementia and how it slowly overtakes the mind, sending it spiraling into a wormhole of forgetfulness, twisted by a reality that they stray further and further from recognizing. The 6-hour album itself starts off ordinary. It's cheery, calm, and invokes a sense of comfort. As the hours pass and it progresses, Leyland subtly morphs not only the overall tone, but each chord progression and tune into something that hardly resembles what you were listening to a mere half-hour earlier. The descriptions from his YouTube video further exemplify the troubles that dementia patients face, too. Stage 1 is described as the first signs of memory loss. It's a stage that's most like a beautiful daydream, the glory of old age and recollection, the last of the great days.
This is one bizarre album already, and this is very bizarre indeed.
Stage 2 encapsulates denial. More efforts made to remember so memories can be more long-form, with a little more deterioration in quality. The overall personal mood is generally lower than the first stage, and at a point before confusion starts setting in. Stage 3 approaches the metaphorical inflection point. It's described as the phase where some of the last coherent memories exist before confusion fully rolls in and the gray mists form and fade away. Finest moments have been remembered, but the musical flow in places is more confused and tangled. As we progress, some singular memories become more disturbed, isolated, broken, and distant. These are the last embers of awareness before we enter the post-awareness stages.
I don't know what the feeling of dementia is like. I don't know I never have known anyone who's had a family member go through it. At least that I've been told of. I can imagine for the family and for the person it is a traumatic experience. And it is a insanely scary thing to deal with. But then consider the fact there's a 6-hour album and there's only apparently 6 songs on it. It's fucking long ass songs, just saying. Then again, now it just beats, so he probably just repeats it most of the time.
At the 2-hour and 8-minute mark, the album takes a stark tonal shift as it begins to exemplify the post-awareness stages, the spot where reality becomes a bleak, confusing mess, and where little seems to make sense. It's described as the point where serenity and the ability to recall singular memories gives way to confusions and horror. It's the beginning of an eventual process where all memories begin to become more fluid through entanglements, repetition, and rupture. Stage 5. More extreme entanglements, repetition, and rupture.
I apologize if anyone's getting, weirded by this, or if this is screwing the person up at all, the sound of this. I did not know what was coming of this. I apologize.
Give way to calmer moments. The unfamiliar may sound and feel familiar. Time is often spent only in the moment, leading to isolation. In Stage 6, one without description. I lost my great-grandmother to dementia just a few years ago, so this album really resonated with me. As a child, I remember her being full of life, always willing to go the extra mile to evoke a sense of union and love, whether it was through her cooking, her stories, or even her presence at family gatherings. She was always someone that welcomed us with open arms when we go visit her. She lived alone. My great-grandfather had passed when I was very young, so unfortunately, memories of him are vague. But I do remember him as being hardworking and an honest man. Over the years, I didn't fully understand it, but I slowly began to notice that something was off. One year we had gone to visit her, and she didn't quite remember myself or my siblings. It's a strange feeling when a family member addresses you with a respectful but off-putting, "And you are?" line that I'm sure most relatives of dementia patients are accustomed to. And then I realized what it was. Slowly, Through subsequent visits, I began to notice things, like sticky notes explaining basic tasks like remembering to shut off light switches, to close the front door, to turn off the water, how to flush the toilet. Family photos were labeled, and her once lively personality had slowly faded away. She was trying so hard to be her, but this condition simply wouldn't let her. Bottom line, Everywhere at the End of Time is a disturbing...
If anyone has lost someone to dementia who's watching this right now, you have my... I feel bad for you. I feel bad for them. If anyone knows anyone dealing with dementia, I also feel sorry for you and them. I can only imagine how hard that is to deal with in both scenarios. I'm just gonna keep playing because I kind of don't know what to say now.
Bleak looking glass into the human mind. While it isn't creepy footage or a disturbing phone call, this single piece of art is one of the most real, artistic expressions of a human condition that I've ever encountered. Life is fragile and beautiful, and few things have stuck with me more than this. If you have a story about a friend or relative that you'd like to share, feel free to leave it in a comment. While they might have forgotten due to circumstances out of their control, they surely won't be.
Next one's Caught in the Storm.
On the 22nd of May 2011, a devastating EF5 rated tornado ripped through the city of Joplin, Missouri.
Damn.
It lasted around 38 minutes and reached wind speeds of more or less 200 miles per hour.
Woo!
The aftermath photos are grim. And so too are the videos. For the past couple of years now, I've gotten a few recommendations about covering this upload. And to be honest, I never actually sat down and watched the entire thing all the way through. Life and such just got in the way. But I digress. The video is titled First Person Video of Joplin, Missouri Tornado, created by a user named IzelSG and uploaded on the very same day that this tragedy occurred. Their description claims that they took this footage inside of a Fast Trip gas station on East 20th Street. Initially, they hid in the back of the store before taking refuge inside of the storage fridge.
I took a video I took of the F510 Fast Trip on East 20th Street. We held in the back of the store until the glass got sucked out. Then ran to the walk-in storage fridge. Sorry for lack of visuals, but the audio was pretty telling how tense the storm was. The tornado hits at the 1 minute and 20 second mark.
While there aren't many visuals within the recording, the audio conveys everything you need to know about being caught in a storm of this magnitude. Have a listen.
Okay.
At least probably 10 or 12.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's probably 18 or 19.
The chin is getting real.
I haven't.
Yeah, they said there was one. They said there was one on the ground at 7th and Range Line.
Yeah, but that's the one coming between this way on 20th.
Man, look at that.
That's why it wins that.
Yeah. No, they haven't yet. The sirens aren't going.
But yeah, they did.
What?
Yeah, they
Dude,
did. That's as we were coming in
Crazy.
here. They
This is
did.
getting real.
Somebody's door.
Go let them in.
Someone in. We need it.
Get inside that. What is that room right there?
But stuff's breaking in the back.
Yeah, I know.
Can we go in the cooler?
Everybody, go. Get in.
Okay.
I think we're gonna do it.
I'm trying to put less weight on him though. Who's right here? Is that you right below me?
Now, I think in an earlier disturbing things around the end of the video, we had one with a tornado in it before, where it went right through a house. I think this is the most disturbing one. I think it becomes more disturbing because of the sense of fear in there. This is children and that all just terrified on what is about to happen, right? They have no idea. They don't know if they're going to survive. The parents, the adults here don't even know if they're going to survive. It is a scary, scary thing. Man, I can imagine that dramatically changed almost everyone in it.
Thankfully, everyone in that store was okay that day. The same, unfortunately, couldn't be said about the others that came face to face with it. In total, the storm took 158 lives and left over 1,100 people injured.
Oh man, 158 people died because of this tornado. RIP to all of them. The nature of weather ended your lives before it was deserved, or before it was time. None of you deserved it. I misused that word there. Before it was time for you to go innocently of the weather. Innocently your lives got taken from you.
Considering the fact that the tornado sirens fired off just 20 minutes before this happened, it's safe to assume that time to escape was minuscule. The incident in Joplin is haunting, and to date, it's cemented into history as the 4th deadliest tornado on record. Hopefully, 10 years later, they've recovered successfully and never, ever have to endure something close to this magnitude ever again.
I hope so.
Is one coffee made?
Night at the coffee stand. I can't get away from this guy. I watch true crime stuff when I'm not reacting to this. I watch like thing, and I've seen this guy appear on many channels. Like, dude, I can't get away from this guy, man. I can't. You don't understand. I can't get away from this fucker and what he did. Ah.
In 2012, a man had killed himself by the name of Israel Keys. He was a serial killer, an arsonist, a bank robber, one of the worst types of people that exist. The reason for his suicide was because he was caught after a kidnapping and ransom attempt over 18-year-old Samantha Koenig of Anchorage, Alaska. This is his ransom photo proving that she was alive, to which, in exchange, he had demanded $30,000.
I know the situation, so there is something very disturbing you'll find out about this. I'm hoping he will go over. If not, I will reveal it to you if he does not.
Except, in this photo, Samantha Koenig wasn't alive. Let's back up.
For you to, just to get a sense, what had happened is I think he had stitched or zip tied her eyes open, and he held the photo. He's holding the photo there that shows the date of whenever this photo's taken. But she was already dead by this point.
Live. Let's back up. On the 1st of February 2012, Koenig was working at a local coffee booth. She can be seen on this CCTV footage where everything seems fine. About 2 minutes into it, however, we can observe someone approach the window, to which she reacts with unease. Afterwards, we can see her hastily shut the lights off before carrying out his demands in the moment. After some back and forth, she opens the register and can be seen taking out cash to give to the man.
There's a missing part where she does go to make him a drink, because he does order a drink, and when he comes, she goes to give him the drink, is when he pulls out the weapon that he has and makes her do all this.
He then demands that she kneels before he enters through the window. And a few minutes later, he proceeds to escort her out of the trailer. After this moment, she was never seen again. As it turned out, her final moments were grim. Later that night, and back at his home, it was reported that he sexually assaulted her, robbed her of everything she had, killed her, and placed her corpse in a shed. Even more bizarrely, the day after, he took off to New Orleans, where he went on a 2-week cruise with his family. The entire time, she was left there and was never found. 2 weeks later, and he comes back from his trip. Her body's still in place, and so Keys dresses her up with makeup and sews her eyes open for a photo with a recent issue of the local newspaper.
So eyes are sewn open here, and he takes the picture, and he has the thing. It's a sick man. Fact that he died of his own choice and not by someone else's. It's what pisses me off.
He did this to invoke the belief that she was still alive, and like we established prior, he had put a $30,000 price tag on her. While this facade was happening, in reality, he had dumped her body in Matanuska Lake, a few miles north of Anchorage. Israel Keys was later caught. However, it wasn't where you'd expect. As it turned out, he'd taken off towards the mainland US, utilizing Koenig's bank card for cash withdrawals as if nothing happened. Because of this, police were able to follow his trail and eventually tracked him down to a Cotton Patch Cafe in Lufkin, Texas. It was the morning of March 12th when Texas Ranger Stephen Rayburn would perform the arrest, and afterwards, Keys was promptly sent back to Alaska, where he eventually confessed to not only this act, but numerous others. But
A sick, sick man. Horrible person.
December of that year, though, he would be found dead in his jail cell. He had slit his wrists and tried to strangle himself, leaving behind his own corpse and various notes and drawings made in blood under his cell bed. To this day, police are still frustrated by this, as with his life went countless questions unanswered. Samantha Koenig was just an ordinary person working her job, as we all do. She didn't sign up for this, she didn't provoke anyone, and she sure as hell didn't deserve the fate that she was given. What she thought would be just another night at work had devolved into a surreal night of hell. A night of hell that led to an injustice. And, frustratingly, there's nothing that anyone can do to ever bring her back.
That is what heartbreaks me, is that people like this, innocent women, even men, innocent people, just have their lives taken because some people enjoy it, and it's horrible. Shameful. This is the incident on Highway 125.
On August 28th of 2009, a California Highway Patrol officer named Mark Saylor was on a drive in a Lexus sedan with his wife Cleofe, brother-in-law Chris, and daughter Mahala. They were heading northbound on California State Route 125 towards Mission Gorge Road in Santee. While the circumstances outlined appeared to be ordinary, little did they know that their vehicle would lead to this venture being their last. At around 7 p.m., a phone call was made to 911.
Oh, this storm look, I couldn't stop the car. Okay. We've heard this 911 call before. If you go by Disturbing 911 call videos, there is one of the two. This is on it. I think it might be both, but I think that it's on the first one. I'm gonna let this play if he plays it. I'm just saying that I do know of this one. We have watched this one already.
It was from Chris, and he could be heard pleading for help since his car had malfunctioned. Have a listen.
911 emergency. What are you reporting?
Yeah, we're in a Lexus.
I'm sorry, your cell phone's cutting out.
We're going north 125.
Mm-hmm.
And our accelerator's stuck.
I'm sorry?
Our accelerator's stuck. We're on 125 and we're in Lake.
Okay, northbound 125. Where are you passing?
We are passing. Where are we passing? We're going 120 Mission Gorge. We're in trouble. We can't. There's no brakes.
Okay.
Gorge and freeway half mile.
Okay, and you don't have the ability to turn the vehicle off or anything?
We're approaching an intersection.
Okay.
We're approaching an intersection. Hold on. Pray.
Okay.
Oh shoot. Oh.
Okay. Hello?
This is a situation where I'm not going to blame them for this. It's because they're not to blame. This is a situation where panic took over, because if you had thought, you could have probably turned the vehicle off and it would have slowed, not as gone as fast, or at least you could have taken your foot off the accelerator to stop it from going. They might have done that, I'm not fully sure. I don't know, I think. But I feel if you would turn the vehicle off, it would have slowed it down. To the point it wouldn't have been as fast as going on. I'm not fully sure, but you can see this is a scenario where panic probably took over more than thinking. And it makes sense because you'd be terrified in this situation.
First tonight, we are hearing from the attorneys for both Bob Baker Lexus and the family of Officer Mark Saylor, who was killed along with his family in a fiery crash 1 year ago in Santee.
Today, Toyota announced it had settled the lawsuit with the Saylor family, but 10 News has learned it had...
As a result of this, everyone in that car lost their lives that night. The worst part about it is that the car wasn't even theirs. It was a loaner given to them by a nearby Lexus dealership. It was reported that the vehicle had reached a top speed of 120 miles per hour before crashing into a Ford Explorer and jumping off an embankment near the Mission Gorge Road intersection at the end of Highway 125. Witnesses claimed that the vehicle was thrown nearly 100 feet into the air before crashing into the ground and bursting into flames. After the incident, it was reported that the Explorer driver had suffered minor injuries and was promptly treated at a nearby hospital. For the family, it was believed that the accelerator had become stuck due to an engineering oversight in Lexus models that included rubber floor mats. After a myriad of other incidents related to this, Lexus eventually rolled out numerous recalls from the span of 2009 to 2011, most of which being related to the accelerator pedal. The sheer amount of issues in affected vehicles are staggering too. On your screen is a list of the recalls they'd sent out, and as you can see, a ton of them are related to the brakes or the accelerator pedal.
Wow. Wow. All of these are recalls they made just for certain reasons. And most of them are due to accelerator and brake problems and that. Wow. All because of malfunctions that Lexus had made.
By the end of it, over 5.2 million vehicles were affected, and in hindsight, it's safe to say that anyone driving a Lexus model from 2009 to 2011 were rightfully on edge. The families of the victims eventually filed numerous lawsuits against Toyota, and as a result, they eventually came to a $10 million settlement. No matter how you slice it though, no amount of money can bring someone back from a design failure that they had no control over. They didn't deserve to die that day, and his final 911 call will forever remain cemented into internet history as one of the most disturbing real-world examples of a simple weekend drive that shouldn't have ended the way it had.
No, it shouldn't have, and it is horrible that a malfunction like that caused 4 lives to end. Damn. Could you on a train? Oh no. Train videos are already scamming. Look up the disturbing stuff. What's this one?
It's 7:23 a.m. on the morning of September 29th of 2016. Passacack Valley Line Train 1614 departs the Spring Valley Station in New York, heading southbound for the Hoboken Station in New Jersey. One way, the trip takes about an hour by train, and on board that morning were an estimated 250 passengers. The ride itself is mostly okay, with nothing seeming awry. Time begins to pass, and train-goers await the day of work ahead of them.
So what went wrong?
8:45 a.m. trains approaching its destination. Being one of the busiest travel hubs in the region, Hoboken Station was lively as expected. The train approaches the terminal, and where it's typically required to stop, it doesn't.
What?
It maintains its full speed and crashes through the buffer stop at the end of the rail, causing passengers to be thrown throughout the cabin and forced into a manic frenzy with no clue on how to process it. We just kept going and going, no braking, no nothing.
What? Why did it keep going? What the? What? Wait, so, hold on. So, no train. Wait, so the train just kept going? Could the guy not stop it? Did the guy not want to stop it? What?
Jamie Weatherhead Saul claims. The moment feels like an eternity. At least, until gravity does what it does. The train comes to a halt past the rails and up against the terminal wall, and the normally busy and lively train station is now temporarily declared a disaster area. On this day, 114 passengers are injured and 1 loses their life. September 29th is now forever
R.I.P. to that one person who lost their lives.
associated with the tragedy that should not have happened.
Oh, it should have.
While this event is tragic in and of itself, on the internet
I was about to say, I was like, is that it? Like, I want to know more information here.
and through word of mouth, the mystery surrounding it is merely beginning to take root. Let's back up.
Okay.
Good morning from the wires of Associated Press and the WKTV.
It's one day prior, the 28th. A central New York TV station named WKTV was broadcast on the usual 6 p.m. lineup. During a commercial break, however, something peculiar would overtake their station. Let's have a look.
Okay. I'm gonna mute the part where this noise is going off, just so it doesn't bother anybody's ears. I promise to do it once it goes black and it. Why does it say would you, could you on a train? Interesting.
Civil authorities have issued a hazardous materials warning for the United States, effective until September 29th, 2:16 a.m. Would you, could you, on a train? Interesting. Not only did they appear to be hacked, but of all things, it referenced a Dr. Seuss quote about a train. And the timing is striking. Immediately after, WKTV puts out numerous statements. From their Twitter. If you were watching our 6 p.m. newscast, you saw a hazardous materials warning message. There is no such warning. It was a technical error. And later that night, from their website. If you were watching our newscast around 6:17 p.m. or at 10:38 p.m., you may have seen a hazardous materials warning crawl across your screen. There is no such warning. The message was an automated test which was not intended for public display. This message originated from FEMA as a test and had the national location code in it. Tests should not have that code as it's automatically retransmitted. We've contacted the New York State Broadcasters Association, who administers the emergency alert system in New York. We're working with FEMA to resolve this. Our apologies for the confusion this may have caused.
something up with me with this response, because there's no way, that's not something you would put down for a test, especially would you, could you on a train. You're not gonna put that at test. If you were hacked, news thing, just admit you were hacked. It happens. Anything can get hacked. Just admit you were hacked.
In total, there wasn't one, but 2 of these alerts. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find footage of them separately. However, it's safe to assume that they were either the exact same or very similar. Interestingly, if we pick apart their wording, WKTV is mostly pinning the blame on FEMA, the Government Disaster Relief Program. An interesting claim, but perhaps that's all it was. One day later, and the train crash occurs, WKTV releases yet another statement containing an update. FEMA replied that they did not send this out. They'll launch a full investigation into how their codes were hacked. WKTV seems to be the only target of this hack. For now, we've disabled the codes in our decoder that trigger this alert. If there's a real national alert, we'll still receive it from the local radio stations we're assigned to monitor. WKTV will cooperate fully with FEMA, providing information about our hardware, software, and internet access, and will provide log files from our devices. This information will be helpful to FEMA to track down the source of this hack. Oddly, around the same time that this was happening, other videos began to crop up showing strange alerts that had happened in places around the United States. While these are indeed strange, and do hint at the possibility of a system-wide hack, the incident that occurred on WKTV was the only one of its kind to include this unusual Dr. Seuss quote. Unfortunately though, to this day, the origin and motive of why this happened, or who did it, has remained unsolved. Of all the entries I've covered thus far on disturbing things, this is one of the most bewildering. Understandably.
Yeah, it is baffling to me, because then it makes you wonder just why is it there? Why was it hacked? Why was that line, could you on a train there? And then how did they cause the train thing? Is it like the train conductor was the one that hacked them? Who? I want to know who hacked it, and then did they know about what was going to happen the next day?
Since
my guess is yes.
This occurred, conspiracy theories have cropped up all over the internet, theorizing on the potential of the train operator being complicit and entertaining the idea that the crash was somehow planned by some external party. While I personally don't subscribe to these, what I do find highly unusual is the timing, and I don't think I'll ever be able to shake that. An audible simulation, Mother Nature's wrath, a nightmarish abduction, a disturbing plea for help, and an eerie broadcast alert. The world can be a depressing, creepy, and disturbing place, and tonight's topics encapsulate that. It's the 23rd of February 2017. A criminal trespassing incident occurs in Billings Heights, Montana. Case number 7.
I thought we were done. Oops.
17.12420. The local police department takes to Facebook soon after to ask for the public's help in tracking down this mysterious individual that, considering what he'd done, is every parent's worst nightmare. The Billings Police Department is asking for the public to be aware of an incident that took place last week in the Billings Heights. On the above date and time, officers responded to a possible burglary in progress. The female resident reported to officers that she observed a male subject in her infant daughter's bedroom on the baby monitor. The victim said she immediately went to her daughter's bedroom, removed her daughter, and left the residence. When officers arrived, the residence and neighborhood were searched, but the suspect was not located. The victim said that the baby monitor is synced to her cell phone. The baby monitor is motion activated and took the attached photo of the suspect, which alerted her cell phone. And that photo is this one. To date, this mysterious intruder has never been found. The world can be a depressing, creepy, and disturbing place, and tonight's topics encapsulated that. You and I just dove into this.
Those are very disturbing. Those are very disturbing cases. I don't have a response to the sixth one. I don't know enough to respond to it. But thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment anything down below. Link will be in the description. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.